Welcome to this explainer, where we are going to decode entrepreneur and author Daniel Priestley's incredibly stark warning, and honestly, his massive optimism about the unprecedented economic transition we are all living through right now. And when we say unprecedented, we are talking about a restructuring on the exact same scale as the Industrial Revolution, but happening any tiny fraction of the time. We aren't just dealing with a new software update here. We are literally watching a fundamental rewrite of the entire global economy. Understanding this shift is absolutely crucial. Okay, let me kick things off with a totally jarring question. Are we entering an era where manual trades completely dominate traditional white-collar prestige? Like, will a plumber actually out-earn a corporate lawyer? I know it sounds totally backwards, right? It goes against everything we've been taught about career progression and education for the last 100 years. But stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you're going to see exactly how this could happen, and much more importantly, how you can position yourself to actually thrive in this wild new reality. So, here's our roadmap for today. We're covering 6 key areas, moving from massive global economic shifts all the way down to your personal career survival and ultimately how to live a deeply human life in the coming decade. All right, diving right into section 1, the Great Restructuring. This is all about the pendulum swing away from the industrial age. You have to wrap your head around the sheer scale of the investment happening right now. We're talking about a $650 billion annual spend on data centers alone. Priestley points out that this infrastructure is rolling out almost instantaneously across the globe. Just think about the Industrial Revolution for a second. Building out those railways, the factories, shipping lanes, that took decades, centuries even. It was limited by hard physical labor and geography. But today, the minute an AI learns a new skill or processes a breakthrough in some server in California, it's deployed globally to billions of devices in milliseconds. We are effectively building the railways of the mind. And because these data centers and chips have to be replaced every 3 to 4 years just to keep up, this massive, nonstop capital spend is going to trigger some incredible economic turbulence. To really grasp what's happening, you kind of have to visualize the economic pendulum swinging throughout history. For hundreds of years, economic power shifted from owning land, to controlling mass labor, to possessing expensive capital. And up until literally just a few years ago, enormous value was placed on hoarding information. If you knew something others didn't, well, you had a moat. But that pendulum has completely swung. In the AI economy, intelligence and information are practically free. A teenager with a smartphone today has access to better legal, medical, and technical synthesis than a Fortune 500 CEO had 10 years ago. Because of that, the value shifts entirely. It moves away from pure knowledge and straight over to pure entrepreneurial enterprise, unique human judgment, and, surprisingly, highly skilled physical trades. Which brings us to section 2, plumbers over lawyers. Honestly, this is probably the most provocative part of the whole explainer. So here's the crucial point. While AI easily commoditizes pure language and knowledge work, it simply cannot replicate the on-the-fly physical judgment of tradespeople. Priestley shares this stunning story to drive it home. Imagine a company facing a really complex 50,000-pound corporate legal problem. In the old economy, that meant weeks of expensive lawyer retainers, right? Endless billable hours. Instead, they fed the exact parameters into a $20 AI subscription, mapped out the entire corporate structure, and completely solved the issue in half a day. And research into big law actually confirms this trend. AI is drastically slashing the billable hours needed for complex documents. Now, contrast that with a plumber. If you hand an AI a digital wrench and ask it to navigate a dark, chaotic crawl space to fix a leaking pipe, it fails completely. The physical world is messy. It's unpredictable. It requires spatial awareness, tactile feedback, and real human trust. Have you ever wondered why we have AI that can write award-winning essays and easily pass the medical boards, but we still don't have a robot that can just fold our laundry? Well, there's actually a name for this, Jevons Paradox. It's the wild observation that high-level abstract reasoning requires surprisingly little computation, but low-level sensory and physical skills require enormous computational power. From an evolutionary standpoint, humans have spent millions of years perfecting physical movement and perception, but only a tiny, tiny fraction of that time playing chess or doing calculus. So for an AI, the quote-unquote hard cognitive problems are actually super easy, but the easy physical problems, like walking upstairs or unclogging a drain, those are incredibly hard. Moving right along to section 3, the Jevons Paradox, why automation actually creates demand. Okay, before we all completely panic about total job loss across the knowledge sector, we really need to pause and unpack the Jevons Paradox, because it totally reframes the fear of automation. This paradox shows us that as technology makes executing tasks cheaper and more efficient, demand actually explodes, creating completely new, highly customized industries. Take ATMs, for example. When they were introduced, everyone thought bank tellers were totally finished. But because ATMs made it so much cheaper to operate a bank branch, banks ended up opening significantly more branches. So, as a result, there were actually more bank tellers employed overall. Their roles just shifted to relationship building rather than counting cash. Priestley uses the media industry as another great example. Traditional journalism jobs might have dropped massively, but the total number of independent content creators and podcasters has grown 100-fold. When the cost of cognitive tasks goes to zero, companies won't just sit still, they'll use those massive savings to provide high-touch, VIP human experiences that were previously just way too expensive to offer. And that leads us perfectly into section 4, the AI lifestyle business. Let's see how this creates a totally new way to work. To really capitalize on this, you need to understand what Priestley calls the AI cake. Imagine a layered stack acting as the brain of your business operations. Down at the base, you start with security and governance, keeping your data safe. Next layer up, the AI models and tools, like ChatGPT or Claude. But here is the absolute magic ingredient, the context layer. This is where you feed the AI all of your company's proprietary knowledge, your past emails, your operating procedures, your brand voice, your customer interactions. You are basically training it to be you. And finally, at the top, you have your skills and routines. By implementing this specific cake, a tiny company can completely automate daily management, marketing, and production. The AI stops being just a generic chatbot and becomes a central character in your business that instantly knows exactly what's going on. Think about the real-world impact of having that AI cake at the core of your business. We're talking about teams of just 5 to 10 people leveraging AI to do the work of 50. Small, hyper-agile teams generating the kind of massive revenue that used to require huge corporate structures and endless middle management. And the best part? What happens to all that reclaimed time? These entrepreneurs aren't stuck managing factory floors or drowning in spreadsheets. They're out there doing what AI simply cannot do, hosting client ski retreats, running community dinner parties, and building deep, authentic relationships. AI handles the heavy lifting so humans can actually build a high-freedom lifestyle business. Okay, section 5, adapting your career. It is time to ride the motorbike. You have to recognize the stark difference between machine and human capabilities here. An AI has endless context, right? It has read basically every book, scanned every legal precedent, and scraped the entire internet. But it has absolutely zero conviction. It has zero skin in the game, it carries no reputational risk, and it is definitely not losing sleep if your project fails. A human, on the other hand, brings reputation, passion, advocacy, and pure conviction to the table. When an AI spits out a business strategy, it doesn't carry any real weight. But when a trusted human puts their own name, their money, and their reputation behind an idea, that is a uniquely human value. Pure information is cheap now. Clients are going to pay a premium for your conviction and your trust. So, to survive and thrive, you have to adapt immediately. First, you need to build a unique personal brand where your reputation precedes you. Second, adopt AI tools today. Priestley uses this fantastic metaphor. Imagine you've trained for years to run the London Marathon. Halfway through the race, the rules suddenly change, and now anyone is allowed to ride a motorbike. Do you stubbornly keep jogging in your sneakers? No way. You get on the motorbike. You have to use AI daily to amplify your output. And third, foster pure entrepreneurial agency. The whole era of just showing up to an office, keeping your head down, and acting like a compliant cog in a machine, that is totally over. The world needs adaptable, wildly curious people who proactively solve real problems. Finally, we reach section 6, the value of connection. Priestley has this incredibly profound takeaway. He argues that we really shouldn't grieve the loss of these dehumanizing, repetitive, spreadsheet-pushing jobs. He says we have ruined the way that we pair bond, we've ruined community. Maybe AI is going to actually give us the breathing room that we need to create a system that gets us back to the way humans have flourished. I mean, what a brilliant perspective shift. His ultimate message isn't some dystopian sci-fi warning. It's filled with incredible hope. By stripping away the robotic administrative labor that we've essentially forced people to do since the Industrial Revolution, AI might actually give us the breathing room we desperately need to reclaim our families, our time, and true human connection. So I'll leave you with this one final provocative thought. The future is absolutely not about competing with machines. That's a race we simply cannot win. It's about leveraging those exact machines to craft a truly meaningful life. As pure intelligence becomes completely abundant and cheap, the things that will matter the most are the things that absolutely cannot be computed: empathy, trust, shared experiences, and human touch. So, how will you build a deeply human life in a machine-centric world? Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer. Get out there, get on that motorbike, and we will catch you next time.